Hey everybody, I'm Brad, and this is Cyberfluidics from Tattoo Smart. This is where it gets crazy, so if you haven't seen the other tutorial videos, or you're watching this before you spend a few hours messing around with the brushes in Procreate, I highly recommend that you turn back now and do so. I'll wait patiently here. Now that you've had the chance to explore the brushes, I'm going to teach you how to deconstruct them into layers and how to adjust the substrate layer for a different look. Buckle your seatbelts.
When I first began making work like this, I did not begin in Procreate. In fact, these brushes here and the way that they automatically come out in this hard black and white fashion this way is not at all how I began. I actually started off doing this in a deconstructed way, is the best way I've found to call it. How these brushes work were originally separated off into multiple layers using a hard mix mode on top and the substrate below, or the substrate or the sort of the pattern that happened below. You can see how these interact down below here. There was a lot of power in using it this way. Using them in the way that they come out of the box is really useful for you can draw with them as they are. You can build all those complex patterns, but you can't do things like this with it, wherein that, like, I can keep this image separated from the pattern and manipulate it individually and independently from the pattern beneath it. And same is true of the pattern below. There are a lot of reasons why you might want to learn how to do things this way. One of the first reasons on here is that you can make shaded stencils. Thermofaxes only produce things in harsh black tones. But you see here, I took one of my skulls and I just applied this pattern to it. And you see the result of this. This can be stenciled. If you're going to use this for stenciling, you're going to want to make sure to compensate for the bleed. You would print this out as it is, black and all, so that you would be able to see that on the skin. But once you run it through the thermofax, all these little black edges are going to bleed out a little bit. And then once you transfer it to the skin as well, it's going to bleed a little bit more. You want to make sure that the spaces between things are just a little bit greater than you would want them to appear once you're actually looking at them. You can adjust that by adjusting the lightness and darkness of the layer below or the drawing layer above. I'll grab my drawing, go to my curves, and I'll show you what I mean. Let me see here. So if I wanted to open up this highlighted area, I would do this. And if I wanted to make sure that this is as dark as it could be, I would probably actually err on getting things about. This is probably, I mean, right where it's sitting is probably about where I would actually try it out and run a stencil. If it comes out too dark, you can always come back into this and just change the slider just a little bit. Next reason you might want to use this technique is because you cannot do things like this or this with the brushes alone. I mean, well, you can draw with them, but you can't have all of this sort of like this changing and this kind of like goopy effect that happens as it transitions from one size of pattern to the next. You also cannot do things like this very well. Here you see I took the substrate below here. It was just a normal, the smallest version, the sim. And I just liquefied it until it arrived about right here. Let me actually turn off the hard mix mode on this top layer here so you can see what the painting looks like on top. And it's really just a dark fade. It's black here, fades out this way, and fades out this way. So that way that you can get this thinning effect like you do with all the rest of the set.